What's up guys, Barry Game here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today is time to give our final grade on Mikola, much like we did with Lily May yesterday. Now, we've had less time with Mikola, however, I feel like it's easy to talk about her compared to Lily May because Lily May was just great everywhere. Mikola has some niche uses, and I think, again, we'll at the very beginning of this video do a too long didn't watch TLDW. She is useful and part of the best teams, however, not by a great margin. Lily May yesterday, she just trumps every other damage dealer. She's just so good, whereas Mikola fits a very similar niche as other healers. Does it slightly better, but is it enough that you really need to chase this hero? Overall, I think my answer today is going to be no. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's talk about where she's good, where she's bad, and where she's just a replacement. So first off, let's talk about her kit. Remember, this is the one really awkward thing about this hero. She has a range 1, which means she is a melee character. Now, she is a mauler, which does fit the theme of maulers being all very, I guess you'd say, aggressive melee type classes overall. She's a physical damage dealer, but she is a supporter, and she does support pretty dang well. Now, Mikola is interesting because when you place her down on the battlefield, you're going to get this honor arena in the center of the battlefield that spans the whole thing. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when you're actually setting up your team as well, because it's very, very unique. So you can see right here, we have Mikola in our team here. It creates this center of the battlefield. It's 3 tiles wide. This is the control zone. This is the arena that matters with all of her skills. If your team controls it, you get really, really awesome benefits. If you don't, you get absolutely nothing, which is one of the things that kind of sucks in certain game modes. It says it spans the whole battlefield. I mean, I guess if the battlefield only counts the middle neutral zone, then sure. But essentially, when you have more units in that area, you gain control of it. It turns green, and then it starts restoring all allies' HP, as well as increase their attack. Now, that can go all the way up to like 23% attack overall. That's really good, because that's pretty much on par with what Smokey does, except the difference is Smokey's aura only reaches so far. Her healing affects everybody on the battlefield. She also has a nice little targeted heal, while also buffing the physical and magic defense by 40% for herself and 2 of the weakest allies. Of course, typically that's usually the melee that are with her. That physical and magic defense is actually quite significant on keeping your heroes alive. That's very, very strong. It's very much like a double Scarlita type effect, and she's also healing her allies very good. Beyond that, she increases her attack as well when her side controls the honor arena and stuff. Not as important, but again, I guess it does have, it has a decent synergy with just her base kit. When she uses her ultimate ability, a Dauntless Hymn, she generates a 2 tile wide sphere, which is again very similar to Smokey's aura. It follows her around wherever she moves. It increases haste by 40 and range defense for allies, which is really cool. And then when Mikola deals a total certain amount of damage equal to her initial attack, she does another giant AoE healing wave. Again, much like how Smokey does his big pulse when he uses his ultimate. So all this is pretty good. She's a very good supporter. She's a very good buffer because of that attack buff. If you do get her to Mythic Plus, she does start dealing damage. However, compared to what Smokey can do, compared to what Ludovic can do, she really doesn't do that much damage. Getting her to Supreme Plus, again, doesn't do too much either because, yes, that card sphere remains unaffected by duration because by default, if you look at the ultimate, it only lasts 12 seconds by default. This basically makes it indefinite so long as you control the side of the battlefield. It doesn't really do much damage though. It's either bugged or something weird's going on when you compare her to Ludovic's damage compared to Smokey's damage. Hers is just almost non-existent, which, well, kind of sucks. Her season ability is good because the frontmost ally will get a shield at the very beginning of battle, which absorbs a ton of damage. So again, she has a really solid support kit. However, nowadays, if you're just purely a support, sometimes you don't fit in the meta. I will mention though, she is part of some of or most of the best teams out there for Dream Realm. You have her even in Lone Gaze where Lily May isn't. You have her in King Croaker. You have her in Snow Stomper. You don't have her in Alpha Bear. Ludovic does seem to shine just a little bit better, although it's a very, very close comparison when it comes to damage, like very close. Skyclop, she's the best. Necro Draken, she's the best. Very interesting. However, I do want to point out one thing. We are in the extreme late game of the season. You can see here we got literally, we're in the thousands of levels on our account. It gets to a point where you don't need to use Coco anymore, and then you can slot her in instead of Coco, because while Coco does provide tons of damage reduction and shielding, you get to a point where you don't necessarily need all that, and extra healing between her and Smokey do very well. You'll notice most of these lineups are her and Smokey in a lot of them, compared to like Snow Stomper. Smokey's not great, it's the only one he's not. But again, most all of these you now are running Smokey on top of that. If you're on an earlier game account, this will also synergize well, because most likely you're powering up an Odie to get to Endless of Dream Realm. So she is by far the best to have with Smokey as a supporter. However, if you compare her to the next closest teams, it's not as big of a margin as you compare someone like Lily May to Marilee for damage dealer. So while she is, yes, S+ tier when it comes to Dream Realm, she's just, it's not, if you're going for like, if you're whaling, you're going for the perfect team, she's going to be worthwhile. But this is kind of one of the few places she is viable, because I do want to talk about the next place, and that is PvP. She is a very difficult hero to get useful in PvP. I think if I go back to some of these lineups from the past week, I can show you guys a replay. The downside of this battlefield is her healing and her attack buffs don't happen unless you have control of the battlefield, and as you guys can see, sometimes that can take quite a while for that battlefield to turn green and you start getting those bonuses. In the meantime, your allies are dying, things like that. Instead, you could have a hero like Damien, who's just, you know, providing that chariot to smart target heal wherever you want. You'll see probably some other battles here where we jump in and we lose, and it's simply because we never gain control of the battlefield, because our melee run out of it, our range stay out of it, and then we just never ever get an effective Mikola. Another thing you notice here, Mikola's running into melee range, which is really difficult to keep alive, even with heroes like Shakir, who's of course having that damage reduction aura. We also have other heroes like Scarlita, giving shields potentially. Very difficult hero to use. In Legend Trial, I haven't found too many uses for her. Usually you're just going to stick with the Coco Smokey, so she's not very useful there. The Ravage Realm, she's definitely going to be useful now, because of course you need a team for every single faction here, so having her as part of one of those factions is a nice benefit to have, because you need like what, 8 heroes to do maximum benefit. But overall, I feel like a good majority of the game modes she's not as useful in. You could use her in AFK battles. I actually do it quite often, but again, we're just like, I've given up on even pushing AFK stages. She's really good in like the teams that are trying to survive. So if you're running like a Taylene comp, or you're just going for that Smokey type of team, she can be useful. But again, AFK stages are tricky, because if she's running into melee range, that's really dangerous unless you have an insane amount of crowd control. So she can be a liability compared to other support heroes, you know, like Smokey and everything, who just stays on his side of the battlefield. He doesn't run into danger. He's pretty safe where he is. Whereas Mikola is going to sprint at the enemy face first and smash her head against the wall. So let me know what you guys think. Overall, I'd say investing in other supports like Smokey is a much better option. If you already have Smokey built and you're looking for another support hero and you're looking to really push Dream Realm, then yes, she can be an amazing pick. I don't know if she's going to be useful at the beginning of next season, because our power levels drop to next to nothing. So we'll have to see. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I think overall I'd give her like a solid S tier, not S+. She's like S+ in certain game modes, not really great in others. I mean, I'd borderline maybe give her an A+. I think S is still a very strong one, because I know a lot of people love Mikola and what she does. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know how you've had experiences with Mikola as well, and I'll see you guys next time.